Ever had one of those days where you come home expecting peace and quiet? Maybe a cold beer on the porch, and instead, you find a glaring, sun-baked crime scene where your beloved trees used to be. Yeah, that was my Tuesday. And let me tell you, the only thing hotter than the afternoon sun that day was the fury brewing inside me. I'm Frank, and this is the story of how Brenda, the HOA dictator of Pleasant Valley Homes, turned my shady oasis into a scorched battlefield. Buckle up, because this suburban nightmare is just getting started. Before I dive into the gritty details of this Florida fiasco, let me know, where are you tuning in from? Your man cave? Sneaking a peek at the office? Or maybe your own sun-drenched porch? Drop a comment and share your vibe. I'm Frank, mid-50s, retired military, now running a small online business crafting custom fishing lures for my home in a beige Florida subdivision. I'm not one for drama. Give me peace, quiet, and my backyard, and I'm set. That backyard was my sanctuary. Thanks to two magnificent oak trees planted decades ago by the previous owner. These weren't just trees. They were giants, their sprawling canopies casting cool shade over my porch and house. I'd work on my laptop under them, breeze rustling their leaves, feeling like I was stealing a slice of Eden. They kept my AC bills sane in the Florida heat and reminded me of my childhood home's oak-lined yard. When I bought this place, those trees were the deal clincher. They weren't just part of the property, they were part of me. Pleasant Valley Homes is your typical HOA-controlled suburb. Manicured lawns, rules about everything from mailbox colors to how long your trash can sit out. I keep to myself, follow the rules, and avoid the petty squabbles. But then there's Brenda McLaughlin, our HOA president, or as I call her, Karen. Late 50s, always dressed like she's auditioning for a country club board. Clipboard practically glued to her hand. Brenda's the kind who interprets bylaws like they're her personal vendetta. I've had minor run-ins, like a notice for grass half an inch too long before my scheduled mow, or a warning about a non-approved garden gnome my grandson Mikey gave me. Annoying, but I shrugged it off. Brenda, though, she thrives on control, and I was about to learn just how far she'd go. Tuesday afternoon, I pull into my driveway after a supply run for my business. Something's off. The light's wrong. Too bright, too harsh. I walk to the backyard, and my heart stops. Stumps. Just stumps where my oaks used to stand. Sawdust coats the ground like a crime scene. My once cool oasis is a barren, sun-scorched wasteland. The trees' massive canopies gone. My porch, my back windows, all exposed to the brutal Florida sun. It's not just the visual devastation. The shade, the privacy, the comfort, all ripped away. I stand there, disbelief turning to a cold, simmering rage. My sanctuary's been violated, and I know exactly who's behind it. Brenda's conveniently inspecting her petunias in her yard next door. She spots me, flashes a tight, smug smile. I march over, trying to keep my voice steady. What happened to my trees? She doesn't miss a beat, her tone dripping with condescension. They were encroaching on common property, she says, waving a copy of some obscure HOA bylaw. Their roots were potentially threatening underground utilities, per an anonymous complaint. Anonymous, my foot. Bet it was her. She even has the gall to add, they were blocking my sunlight from my prize-winning roses. I stare at her, jaw clenched, as she prattles about community safety. She thinks she's won. I look at Brenda's smug face, then at the butchered stumps of my trees, and a cold, calculating thought forms. She has no idea what she's just started. This isn't over, not by a long shot. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. But in Florida, sometimes it's best served under a relentless, unforgiving sun, with a side of skyrocketing energy bills. The next morning, I'm still reeling. I get quotes for stump grinding. $1, $200 just to clean up Brenda's mess. Replacing mature oaks. Try $15,000 each minimum, and years before they'd match the old one's shade. My property value's taken a hit. The backyard's gone from oasis to eyesore. Worse, the house is already hotter. The porch, once my cool retreat, feels like a skillet. Back rooms are stuffy, and my AC's humming like it's on its last legs. I'm looking at a brutal electric bill. Beyond the dollars, it's the loss of comfort, privacy. My sanctuary's been gutted. I feel exposed, like Brenda's ripped away part of my home. I draft a formal complaint to the HOA board, attaching photos of the stumps, replacement cost estimates, and a demand for compensation. The board, Brenda's loyal puppets, responds with a dismissive letter parroting her excuses. Common property, utility threats, all within their rights. They offer a pathetic sampling as a gesture. I'm fuming but not surprised. I call Dale, a lawyer friend who knows HOA disputes. He explains Florida's tree law. Triple damages for wrongful removal are possible. But suing an HOA is costly and tricky. Document everything, he says. I start a folder. Photos, emails, thermostat readings, the works. Brenda's on a power trip. She leaves a note on my door about the unsightly stumps, demanding I remove them ASAP. At a community barbecue, she brags about the better view without my trees, claiming everyone benefits from more sunlight. Her latest HOA newsletter features a passive-aggressive article on community beautification. With a veiled jab at my hazardous oaks, she's strutting like she's untouchable. But I notice her roses looking a bit droopy under the same sun scorching my yard. I'm meticulous now. My log tracks every interaction. Dates, Brenda's snide comments, my AC's constant strain. Online, I scour Reddit for HOA horror stories, learning legal tactics and common dirty tricks. I chat with neighbors quietly. Most are scared of Brenda, but Mrs. Henderson, whose house is also baking, grumbles about her own discomfort. A few others share minor gripes about Brenda's rain. I'm building a case, biding my time. My first electric bill arrives since the trees came down. $3.80, nearly double last month's. I stare at it, a slow, wicked smile creeping across my face. Brenda wanted more sunlight. I mutter. She's about to get more than she bargained for. Glancing out, I see the sun hammering her roof and those of her HOA cronies, Tom and Linda, across the cul-de-sac. This fight's just heating up. Brenda thought she was just cutting down trees. She forgot she was messing with Mother Nature, and more specifically, the Florida sun. And that's a battle you don't win with an HOA bylaw. Those oaks didn't just shade my yard. Their sprawling canopies cooled Brenda's house next door, and the homes of her HOA loyalists, Tom and Linda, across the cul-de-sac. Without them, the afternoon sun unleashes its full fury. Brenda's west-facing walls, once sheltered during the hottest hours, now soak up heat like a sponge. Her prize roses, despite her frantic watering, droop and crisp at the edges. Tom and Linda fare no better. Their dark roofs turn into heat sinks, radiating misery into their homes. I'm under a new patio umbrella, tinkering with my fishing lures, when I catch Brenda adjusting sprinklers, sweat beading on her brow. Tom's out too, cursing as he checks his AC unit. Hot one today, huh? I call to a passing neighbor, loud enough for them to hear. Sure is different without those big trees. The sun's impartial wrath is glorious. Brenda's house, with its fancy stucco and dark trim, bakes like an oven. Her roses, her pride and joy, are fading fast. No match for the relentless UV. Tom's place, with its asphalt shingles, looks like it's aging in dog years. Linda's home, its vinyl siding gleaming, is starting to show subtle warps on the west side. I don't say a word, just sip my iced tea and observe. The Florida sun's doing my talking for me, and it's louder than any HOA meeting. It doesn't take long for the neighbors to feel the burn. Literally, Brenda, Tom, and Linda's AC units are running nonstop, and their electric bills are climbing faster than mine. At the mailbox, I overhear Tom muttering about his latest $400 bill. Linda, usually chatty, looks frazzled, telling Mrs. Henderson her asthma's flaring from the constant AC. The damage is visible too. Brenda's roof shingles are curling, granules littering her driveway after a rain. Tom's siding warps more noticeably, a ripple catching the sunlight. Linda's attic, under-insulated for this kind of solar assault, turns her upstairs into a sauna. Neighbors on our street start whispering, connecting the dots. Their own homes are hotter since the trees came down. Brenda's anonymous complaint is starting to smell like a personal vendetta with collateral damage. The grumbling grows. At the community pool, a few residents vent about their spiking utility costs. Didn't start till those oaks were gone. One says, glancing at Brenda's empty lounge chair, she's not there. She's probably inside, trying to save her roses or hide from the heat. The neighborhood's mood is shifting, and Brenda's iron grip is slipping under the weight of her own sun-soaked mistake. I'm not lifting a finger to ease their pain. My focus is my own yard, reflective film on my back windows to cut the glare. Maybe some sun-loving plants for the future. The film's a nice touch. It bounces just a bit more sun toward Brenda's side. Pure coincidence, of course. If Tom or Linda ask about shade solutions, I'm all smiles. Fast-growing trees might help, I say. But it'll take a decade to get real shade. Ever try an attic fan? Really cuts down on that brutal sun load we're all getting now. They nod, grimacing, and I keep my poker face. I'm still documenting everything. Photos of Brenda's wilting roses, Tom's warp sighting, the AC repair van parked at Linda's, my logs a growing arsenal, thermostat readings, neighbor complaints, even a screenshot of Brenda's newsletter crowing about landscape management. I'm not just building a case. I'm watching her empire crumble under the sun's relentless pressure. Every bead of sweat on her face is a point in my favor. Dale's on the case. He sends a formal demand letter to the HOA and Brenda personally, laying out the damages. $30,000 for tree replacement, $5,000 in property value loss, and my ballooning energy costs. He cites Florida tree law, hinting at triple damages for willful destruction. The letter's clear: pay up, or we're headed to court. Brenda's smugness won't hold up against a judge, and Dale knows it. The HOA's silence so far tells me they're scrambling, probably realizing Brenda's executive decision has them on the hook. Brenda's unraveling. At an outdoor HOA community watch meeting she insisted on holding, she's visibly melting, her crisp blazer damp with sweat. Tom, fed up, snaps about his roasting house. Invest in better insulation if you can't handle a little Florida sunshine. She barks, her voice sharp but shaky. The crowd shifts uncomfortably. Tom's face hardens. He's not her loyal soldier anymore. Linda, fanning herself, looks ready to bolt. I lean against a tree, one of the few left, watching the alliance crack under the solar pressure. Brenda's reign is burning out, and the sun's not done with her yet. You can't fight City Hall, they say. But apparently you can make HOA tyrants sweat so much they start turning on each other. All it takes is a little sunshine and a lot of karma. The sun's wrath is unrelenting. Brenda's oversized AC unit, pushed to its limit, coughs its last breath during a 98-degree afternoon. The repairman's blunt: full replacement, $8,000, and a week for parts in peak season. She's stuck in her sweltering house or shelling out for a motel. Tom's not faring better. His warp siding needs replacing. A $12,000 hit. He's openly griping to neighbors, calling the tree removal a dumb move. Linda's roofer delivers worse news. Her shingles, battered by excessive heat, are failing years early. A new roof's $15,000, and her asthma's so bad she's sleeping downstairs to avoid the oven like upstairs. Other neighbors, especially those on our street, are piecing it together. Their homes are hotter, their bills higher. All since Brenda's anonymous complaint took down my oaks. Whispers turn to accusations, her power grabs burning the whole neighborhood. The discontent boils over. Tom, red-faced and fed up, and Linda, wheezing but furious, rally enough residents to force an emergency HOA meeting to address Brenda's overreach and its environmental impact. The clubhouse is packed, the air thick with tension and heat. Someone accidentally cranked the thermostat to 80. Brenda, usually pristine, looks like she's been through a car wash without the car. Her blazer's rumpled, hair frizzing, and she's clutching her clipboard like a lifeline. She tries to open with her usual authority, but the crowd's not having it. Questions fly. Why weren't we consulted? Who's paying for our AC bills? Was this really about your roses? Brenda's floundering, her voice sharp but unsteady. I step up, calm as a winter morning. Dale's prepped me well, so I lay out my case like a general briefing troops. I show photos. My majestic oaks in their prime. Then the pathetic stumps. I present quotes. $30,000 for new trees, $5,000 in property value loss, my $380 electric bill. I walk through the timeline. Brenda's vague bylaw, her anonymous complaint, her smug admission about her roses. I don't need to mention their suffering. It's etched on their faces, sweat glistening under the clubhouse lights. Dale, standing by, adds a quiet but lethal note. The HOA and its board members could face personal liability for unauthorized actions. The room shifts. I start to Brenda, who's shrinking by the second. Her allies crumble. Tom, voice shaking, says he was misled about the tree's threat, admitting his house is unlivable now. Linda, struggling to speak, nods, her face a mix of exhaustion and betrayal. Other board members, sensing the legal heat, start hedging, claiming they trusted Brenda's judgment. The crowd's murmurs grow louder, angrier. Brenda's alone, her clipboard no match for the room's fury. I catch Mrs. Henderson's eye. She gives me a small, approving nod. The tide's turned, and Brenda's drowning in it. She scrambles to save face. Frank didn't maintain his property line. She snaps, but I counter with my arborist report, confirming the trees were healthy and well within my boundaries. She pivots, suggesting the oaks were diseased. But I've got photos proving otherwise. Desperate, she proposes an emergency bylaw for reflective roofing to combat climate change. A blatant ploy to fix her own scorched roof at everyone's expense. The room erupts in laughter, harsh and unforgiving. Fix your own mess, someone shouts. Brenda's face flushes crimson, her usual composure obliterated. She's not just losing control. She's losing the neighborhood. The final blow comes swiftly. Mrs. Henderson, voice steady despite her age, moves to suspend Brenda's powers as HOA president, pending a full investigation into the tree incident. Tom seconds it, his jaw tight. Linda raises a shaky hand in support. The vote's called and hands shoot up across the room, overwhelmingly in favor. Brenda's gavel hits the table with a weak thud, her authority stripped in minutes. The room buzzes as people file out, some clapping me on the shoulder, others shooting Brenda dark looks. She's a pariah and she knows it. As the meeting adjourns, Brenda catches my eye. "This isn't over," she hisses, but her voice is hollow, a bead of sweat trickling down her temple. I just smile, letting the weight of her own defeat sink in. The sun's done its work, and now the neighborhood's finishing the job. Brenda's empire is crumbling, and I'm just getting started. Justice, like a good shade tree, can take time to grow, but when it finally arrives, it sure does feel good to bask in it. Especially when your tormentor is still sweating bullets. The HOA, now led by a temporary board, wants no part of a lawsuit. They settle fast, covering $30,000 for 2 new mature oaks, my legal fees, and $10,000 for damages. But here's the kicker. Their insurance won't cover Brenda's rogue stunt, deemed gross negligence, an outside official procedure. After their lawyers confirm she acted ultra vires, the board holds her personally liable for $25,000 of the settlement, plus her own AC replacement and roof repairs. Her financial world's collapsing faster than her roses. Socially, she's radioactive. Neighbors avoid her at the mailbox, her usual allies silent. Her attempts to rally support at a community picnic are met with cold stares. Brenda's not just defeated. She's the neighborhood's cautionary tale. Her house hits the market a month later. That sun-baked roof, curling shingles, and the bad vibe keep buyers away. It sits, a forlorn monument to her hubris, while she drains savings on motel stays and repairs. I hear she's planning to move to a condo. Less yard to control, less room for her ego. The neighborhood breathes easier with every day her for sale sign fades in the sun. My backyard's reborn. 2 healthy oaks, carefully positioned for maximum shade on my property, are planted by pros. I'm strategic. They offer minimal relief to Brenda's old place, just in case her buyers cut from the same cloth. My porch is cool again, my AC no longer gasping. I crack a cold beer, laptop open under the new canopy, and feel whole. The electric bill's back to $200. And my sanctuary's restored. It's not just about the trees, it's about taking back what Brenda stole. The HOA's changing too. New board members, including Mrs. Henderson, push for fairness. Bylaws are rewritten to limit overreach. No more vague common property excuses. There's talk of a tree preservation policy. A nod to what we lost. The neighborhood feels greener. Not just in grass but in spirit. People linger at the pool, swapping stories of Brenda's reign like war veterans. Her name's a punchline now, not a threat. The ordeals forged unexpected bonds. Tom, sheepish, apologizes over a beer, admitting he was blindsided by Brenda's lies. We find common ground in fishing tales. Mrs. Henderson stops by with homemade cookies, her sharp wit a surprise delight. We're not just neighbors now. We're allies, united against petty tyrants. At a block party, someone jokingly proposes the Brenda Memorial Shade Committee to plant more trees. Catches on, funded by small donations. By next spring, maples and crepe myrtles line the street. A living middle finger to Brenda's legacy. Sitting on my porch, I reflect on the irony. Brenda craved control. Her perfect roses, her unobstructed view. She got none of it. The sun, impartial and merciless, delivered justice no court could match. Her house baked, her allies turned, her power evaporated. All because she underestimated nature and overestimated her own clout. I didn't need to lift a finger. I just let her cook in the consequences of her own stupidity. Raising a glass to my old oaks, then my new ones, I smile. Sometimes the best revenge is watching someone sweat while you sip in the shade. So what do you think? Did Brenda get what she deserved? If you've ever tangled with an HOA Karen or just love a story where the villain gets a solar-powered smackdown, scorch that like button. Share this with anyone who needs a laugh or a lesson in karma's long game. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Pleasant Valley Homes has more stories, and trust me, they're shadier than my backyard.